Hello, all you beautiful ladies. Welcome back. And today I am updating you, as I promised. It's been about 2 weeks. Well, actually a little bit less, but I'll put the video up there to refer to. So if you're new here, welcome. So happy you're here. And if you are in menopause, any stage in menopause, you have come to the right place. And I'm Jennifer. Now, so today is an update on my weight gain and weight loss journey. So if you are where I'm at, jump in at any time and put in the comments section below where you're at and how your journey is going pertaining to weight loss or weight gain. I don't know if any of us naturally are just losing weight with menopause, but I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, please let me know. Okay, so I wanted to say that I told you guys that I was going to go see a nutritionist. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. It was interesting. I'm glad I went. I was open to any help I could possibly get on anyone's outlook or input that they could help me with. Okay, so as many of you know from the last video, I really am, or to me, I was thinking I wasn't, maybe 10, 12, 13 pounds up. I also have shared that I am lifting heavy weights consistently and frequently. So, as well as other exercise as well. So this is kind of this whole case that we are trying to figure out. I also, again, I'm very active. I follow a very clean diet. And yeah, so I was totally at a loss because all of a sudden, hello, it doesn't seem like anything's working. And just slowly, I just seem to be creeping up, a pound here, pound there, pound there. So, okay. And I know I'm not severely overweight, but the frustrating part, and I shared this in my last video, I even showed you where my body is at. And the frustrating part is that I'm lifting and I'm working so hard in lifting and have been for years. But I've got this layer of fluff on, so you can't see any muscle. And I find this so upsetting and frustrating. And yeah, so that's where I'm working on. I wanted to try and really maybe take down my body fat percentage, and so we could see the muscle, because we know we all have muscle. Of course, we're going to have more defined, bigger muscles if we're working out, but you can't see them if you have, enough of that layer of body fat that covers it. So this is where I'm at. I would just love to feel like I looked at least like I work out. Yeah. So I clocked in probably about 169. Currently my natural weight would be about 157. Kind of that's where my body always tended, we all have that one number where the body just wants to stay there. And actually that's fine. Like 157 is fine, but I never was 157 when I was working out lifting heavy. And I probably am lifting more heavy than I ever have before. So with that, taking that into consideration, I'm not sure if I think I'll be able to go down to 157 because what about the muscle? So I'm not sure. Okay, so that's where the verdict is still out. So I talked about the fact that okay, and just so we'll get it out of the way, I have lost maybe 4.5, close to 5 pounds. Now, this was me just nipping everything in the butt. I told you guys that I was going to start to really track every bite I put in my mouth, and making sure that I wasn't going over, my calories to where then I was not in a calorie deficit. And I'm thinking that maybe I was a little bit over and I was in a calorie surplus. So I do maybe think that I was maybe eating a little bit more than I thought. And I recommend this to all of us guys I think about once a year. It's a good idea to start tracking if you are struggling or gaining weight. If you're not, don't touch it. Don't touch what's not broke. Don't touch it. Okay? Because I don't think we should be trying to mess with our calories. It gets just unhealthy and in the end, we like, now there's thinking that we kind of reset our set point, like to what our maintenance calories is and what we're actually burning. And okay, so I believe we shouldn't mess with it. And that's probably why we're all where we're at, is because we have messed with it. Okay. Yeah. So I did start tracking and notice that, okay, maybe I'm eating a little bit more. So I did lower it down a little bit in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put myself at like 1,500 calories. The Fitness Pal told me to lose some weight, put me at 1,488. Okay, so that's what I was doing. Then I went to go see the nutritionist. Now, I was happy that the nutritionist did agree with me. She agreed with me to put me about 1,500 calories, which I was already doing. And really just changing my whole outlook and making protein as number one. Now, a lot of people that I've been following in the space of the fitness space and have been really talking about how much extra protein we need as a woman, first of all, going through menopause. Also, if you're trying to gain muscle and lifting heavy weights. So this can be really conflicting. So I was interested to see that the nutritionist did think I should prioritize protein, but not as much as people are talking about in the space. So her advice was for me to do maybe 75 to 80 grams per day, where a lot of people in the space are recommending 1 gram protein per pound of body weight. So, and usually they're telling you to go by your goal weight. So if you're trying to lose weight, just take the weight that you'd like to be. So say 150, and then you'd be needing to eat 150 grams of protein a day. Whoa, I know, it's a lot of protein. So this is also something that she didn't really agree with. She didn't really agree that I needed to push it to 150 grams. So she thought differently than a lot of these people are talking about in the space. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But okay, she agreed that about 1,500 was good, to where it still would put me in a small deficit so I could lose weight. And she did agree that I could lose some body fat, because I just want to, lose some body fat. Now, she told me to increase my cardio, which that was very confusing, because everything we are hearing in space is, don't increase cardio, and that's naturally what we do. We start exercising more and eating less. And that is a big thing you're hearing right now, is to not to do. So it was interesting that she told me to up my cardio, which I did disagree. And I already obsessively do too much cardio. I'm walking every day. Usually I take my walk after like my biggest meal, which is dinner, although it's not really my biggest meal. It's not. But whatever. I usually do my walk about after dinner time. Then I'm working out daily as well. Weights, I used to be doing more every day, splitting it up, but now I'm doing like workout, weights, and then the next day rest, and then workout. So on and off every other day. So, but then I'm doing something on those other days too. So they're not like really off days, still taking my walk. So that's what she recommended, and that's what I've been doing. And then also, again, she did not think I needed to focus so much on the protein. So, okay. Was it helpful? Yes, but was it then more confusing, and I feel like I'm right back to the drawing board? Yes, kind of. So I went with what she said, and I have been doing that. She also, she had one of those scales that you have to take those with a grain of salt, but where they kind of map it out. They kind of tell you how much water weight you have, how much, your BMI, your body mass index, or fat, and so forth. And it does give them compute them a number as far as your maintenance calories and where they should put you on if you, in a deficit, if you want to lose or gain, etc. So I think that was pretty accurate as far as what like Fitness Pal told me. That's what I've been using to track. So I said, okay, we're going to go with this. We're going to go with what she says. So that is what I have been doing. And yes, since now it's been probably it's been close to 3 weeks. But remember, I was already kind of doing really what she said, because she was pretty close to what I had kind of already figured out anyways. So what she said is that I should go down, a realistic goal weight for me would be 157. And again, I like that weight, but I'm not convinced that I can be 157 and with the heavy lifting I'm doing. So again, this is where we're stuck with that. So what I can tell you after 3 weeks is maybe I've lost about 5 pounds, which feels great because I kind of feel like that was just excess water, which is what I've expressed in my last videos of kind of this whole having the IUD and not really having a regular cycle. I feel like I'm always on a cycle, and so I feel like I just have extra water weight. So it's not to say that you've gained weight, and so many women have inquired of asking me if you've gained weight because of the IUD. I do not believe so at all. I was already starting to kind of, gain a couple pounds before the IUD, and now I've been on the IUD for 2 years, and I don't think that all of a sudden I would start gaining weight because of that. So I do not think that's it. But I will say, and I've said in the past, is that I do think the IUD, my doctor confirmed this as well, is that it just makes us have, we retain a lot of more water, like excess water. Okay, so that's what I feel about that. Now, also what I've been doing, so same thing with my physical activity, adding in, the exercise. And I did start to give myself more rest, though, in between the weights, because I've been hearing this in the space as well, that we need, after 40, more recovery time. So I did, rather than working out every day, I cut it down to more every other day, and I'll do mobility work and different stuff, on those other off days. Okay, so that's where we're at there. I still am also including intermittent fasting. I've always naturally done intermittent fasting more for spiritual reasons. Like, again, I intermittent fast in the morning because I like to have no food in my stomach for my meditation and for yoga. I also hang upside down in my swing, so I don't like to have any food. My nutritionist said that that was fine, but I also had conflicting information about the intermittent fasting, and that's also something that's in the space is looking at, is intermittent fasting a good idea for where we are at? And over 40, and I told you guys I was going to go down the rabbit hole, and I read 2 books in the last time I saw you guys. Fast Like a Girl, which is by Mindy Pelez. I hope I'm saying her name right. Okay, so I was interested in what her thinking and was on fasting. Now, she believes fasting is fine for us. She believes fasting can reset our hormones. She believes fasting is a wonderful therapeutic tool we can use for weight loss, for all kinds of other wonderful reasons to get us through things. Okay, but now she believes that we should intermittent fast according to our cycle, so our menstrual cycle, whether you have a cycle still or not, because even if you're postmenopausal, we still somewhat have a cycle. So she believes, and if you aren't able to really track a cycle, you can just use the moon. And I talked about that in my last video. I'm still tracking my cycle with the Stardust app to the moon. And I find it's working, but I still am not convinced that it's exactly on. And I think it's just confusing because when we have that IUD, makes it a little trickier. So I'm still working with that, guys. So I really love this book. I recommend it to anybody. But I wanted to see her take and her take, okay, together. So I tried not to read them together. Does anyone else do that, to reading more than one book at the same time? I wouldn't recommend it. Anyways, I wanted to see, though, I really respect both of these ladies. And I know they're doing their homework. And I value and totally respect what they're doing for us. And so I wanted to read both because I love intermittent fasting, but I keep hearing like this is Next Level, Miss Stacy Sims. Love her. I feel like she has got it going on and she knows what's happening to us. So I read both. I wanted to see how they differed. Now, they have something similarity, but she believes we need to just fast according to our cycle. So we should not be fasting, as often. And, but it definitely, there's certain times we should not be fasting due to, for pertaining to our cycle. Then Miss Sims, isn't a big fan of intermittent fasting at all. She thinks at this point we don't have any business intermittent fasting. Especially, she's very highly against fasted exercise, okay? Which I was kind of dipping into, but she's very against that. And then also the difference is she is very against the keto. Miss Mindy is a little more keto, although she calls it ketobiotic, so it's a little different. She doesn't think we should be so, in ketosis. She does think we should not, or we shouldn't, again, pertaining to our cycle. Miss Sims is very against the ketogenic diet. She thinks that most studies that we have are, I guess, done on men, not women. So we don't know enough, and she thinks it's the last thing we need. So we should not be doing keto or intermittent fasting. She's fine with, like, if you don't eat after 7, okay, fine. But she also is more, the big difference with these two, they're kind of coming from a different place. She is more of like she trains athletes, and she's looking more at the athletic person, and woman especially, and then as well, an athletic woman going through menopause. But don't let that deter you. This book is for all of us, okay? But she also does not agree that we should be doing no keto, no fasted exercise, no intermittent fasting. She believes that we need to time our eating. It's not so much as important as what we're eating, although it is, but as when we're eating and timing our eating with our training. She also does believe that we have to look at our cycle and be really particular about how we're eating and when we're allowing in some extra carbohydrates. She does, though, believe that we are not set up for a high carb diet any longer after 40. And I thought that was so interesting. So she believes that we do need some carbs, and especially it makes it a whole nother ball game if you are training or you are an athletic, athlete. It's going to be totally different. So, but just in general, for any woman that's working out and exercising, you need to eat, at appropriate times, which she thinks is key and more important than anything else. So she also is a big proponent of the protein. She believes more protein than she does, okay? So I'm very conflicted on that, you guys, and I want to talk about the fact of where I'm at with that. So I recommend both of those books. Excellent information. It's really helped me a lot, but I also want to talk about the fact that the protein part has been my most difficult challenge. I've shared with in the past, I'm a vegetarian for sure. I don't eat meat, but I was practicing vegan for a long time off and on. Now I just have given it up because I can't get enough protein. So I am struggling with getting enough protein being a vegetarian. Vegan for sure. So in order to there's no way. So I have found for me to get 150 grams a day of protein, especially not eating meat, but eating dairy and even some eggs sometimes, I have found it almost impossible that I cannot get a day of 150 grams of protein for a day without going over and putting yourself in a surplus and not in a deficit. And that's where I am so stuck. So I am still going down the rabbit hole, trying to figure out everything and anything. And we're using me as a guinea pig. So I'm really trying. On a good day, I've been able to hit maybe 85, close to 90 grams of protein, maybe 100, but like close, like maybe 95, 96. Okay. And that's tough. And I still feel like it's a lot of food, and I'm so paranoid that means I'm going over. And I have heard other experts say that if you're trying to lose weight, yes, you want that much protein, but you shouldn't go over. If you go over your deficit, you're not in a deficit anymore, then you're back to, you're not going to lose any weight. So there's where I'm at. I really want to continue to focus on the protein. I'm going to keep you guys updated, but so far it's been quite a while, about 3 weeks, a little bit more, I'd say, but I'm not going to show you anything yet. I do feel better though, guys. I feel like I don't have as much, just water, but I don't know. The verdict's still out. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to check in with you again and let you know where we're at. But I was thinking the other day about, I wanted to say this. I feel like we are this, after 40, you're coming on menopause, depending on where you're at. And we are like these new, almost like we're all getting new engines. Okay. I was thinking about this the other day, guys. So we're all getting new engines. The engine that we had before is no longer worked. Okay. So we had to have new engines put in. Now, all of a sudden, our engines, they run completely differently. They run on different fuel. They need different things in order to run at an optimal level. We can no longer stop and put cheap gas in our engines. Every woman has a little bit of a different engine that she has to figure out what is best for her engine. Her oil changes are going to be differently. Her filters are going to be differently than the next woman. But we all do have this new engine to work with. And we have just got to figure out and really work with this new engine that we've been giving. So I like to kind of think of it like that. I wanted to share that because just kind of puts a different perspective on looking at it. So think of it as a challenge and okay, now we've got to figure out how to get this engine running at, like I said, optimal levels so we can be so fast, so efficient, so just dynamic and wonderful. Okay, so that's what I kind of wanted us to all leave this video with. I am trying to look at it as like I'm this new engine, guys, and we have got to figure out how this new engine works. And it's not the same engine. So, everything we put in it, from the oil to the gas to, which that would be our nutrients and our food and how we're training it, how we run that engine. Yeah, we're like an engine, guys, and we got a new engine and we got to figure out how this new engine works. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. Let me know if you jumped on this wagon with me. If you're there, put it in the comments. Let's know and see where you're at. What's working, what's not. Can you help a girlfriend out? And can you tell us, like, what is this protein thing? Like, oh, my gosh, okay. So I will be back with you guys soon. I hope you're doing wonderful and all my love. And we got this. We got this, you guys. And we're going to get through it together. So keep commenting, keep getting involved.